Before the climax of Book 1, we have to quickly establish the level that we're operating on. After all, the game is called Dungeons and Dragons, and we now have learned that there is an actual dragon down below. But the game is about progression as well, and this is not a party of battle-hardened warriors for whom a dragon is just another day at the office. This is a group that was successfully captured by mere minions of this dragon. It is only recently that they even considered themselves to be on a quest, never mind setting out with some kind of grand goal in mind. The people that have spun out the tale so far are capable, above average for certain. But in the end, they are just a collection of compatriots united by history and or circumstance. They're hardly the ones you think about when you have to save the world. The dragon that attacked the group is Kisoth, and is displeased with the news that they have not only survived, but have entered the remains of the city, certain that they are after the discs of Mishika, part of the dragon's hoard, along with a book of magic that Raceland is desperate to acquire during their mission. The only positive in the situation is that it will offer an opportunity for the villains to regain the staff, but not until the great confrontation happens. And that's not going to go without incident. First, there's a fight with Draconians that leads to a problem with the lift system. It's made out of old lard rendering pots that have been repurposed as cars for the elevator sort of thing. But Raceland's Gully Dwarf friends are able to help out during the fight. But we see that despite the way he may regard other members of his own party, and even his own brother at times, Raceland shows far more kindness to the extremely dim-witted Gully Dwarves. His only request for their help in the battle is a strictly non-combative role, just jumping onto the chain to serve as a momentary advantage for his comrades. And he seems to possess a genuine feeling of compassion for Bupu, despite her own mental limitations. In the end, after she and he will part ways, Flint, whom you'll recall has no love for Gully Dwarves, will make a comment about Raceland's pet Gully Dwarf leaving. And the mage gives Flint such a withering gaze over the words that even Flint starts to feel uncomfortable over them. But in the present, Bupu takes them to see the high bulb that runs the Gully Dwarfs here, first by unlocking a secret door by pointing a rat at it. She thinks that the rat is magical, see. She doesn't notice that she's actually stepping on a hidden pressure plate, which is actually causing the door to open. She then gets them past the Gully Dwarf guards in order to meet the high bulb himself. Now, as a politician, he's naturally dealing with the problems of his people, and the central one is being enslaved by the forces working for the dragon. So naturally, he presumes that they are here to slay the dragon, and he will not be persuaded otherwise. But he does offer them a useless map he once drew to where the dragon's hoard is in order to lead them to the dragon so that they can complete their quest and, in his view, kill it. Fortunately, though, even though the map is useless, Bupu herself knows how to get there, and she's going to be instrumental in helping Raceland set this all up. When the final journey is planned out, those two will need to be separate from the group to ensure that they're able to get where they need to go. But alas, Raceland is not waiting for them at the rendezvous. Sturm assumes betrayal, and it even flickers through Tanis's mind for a moment before he rejects it, because it doesn't make any sense. Well, the actual reason is just as bad as if he had betrayed them. Raceland was instead captured by Draconians and brought to the dragon herself. Everyone has been expecting a big fight with a dragon, but as established, that is just so far beyond this group at this time, it would be absurd. So when Raceland is revealed to be a hostage, the others have no choice but to capitulate. The great dragon demands the staff be returned, and despite the others' protests, Gold Moon says that she'll give it back. Instead, once she gets close enough, she strikes the dragon with the staff. Remember how the Draconians reacted trying to pick it up earlier. Its divine nature thus destroys the dragon, although Gold Moon is quickly consumed in fire. They are at least able to retrieve the discs from the hoard, but not the book, and not for lack of trying. Raceland is nearly abandoned when he refuses to give up his search of the hoard for it. The enraged party fight their way out of the city, wishing to get a measure of vengeance for the loss of the kindly gold moon. Even Tanis forgets his elven values and is prepared to vent his anger, were it not for Flint's intervention. Fortunately, as Tanis rants about the old gods taking Gold Moon away, presuming her to be a human sacrifice in the cause, we actually learn that it was to protect her. Gold Moon returns to her friends as a genuine cleric of Mishika, making her one in service to one of the actual old gods. This is a natural final step, since we've seen throughout here a guiding divine hand over this group. We now see that one of their number has actually been elevated to effectively being a representative of one of these old gods. Raistlin also receives good news. The reason that he couldn't find the book within the hoard is because Bupu had already acquired it, and she gives it to him as a parting gift. But while all of this is a well-deserved chance to bask in victory, it is all too short-lived, for they soon discover from their vantage point that Solace is burning, setting us up for Book 2. The first part had a lot to do to introduce a fairly large cast of characters, establish the world, put them onto a quest, and also have some adventures along the way. Given all of that, I think it holds up a lot better than some critics of the work say. Yes, the characters depend a great deal on ciphers, but that leaves room for them to grow. Like the way the ciphers that were the characters of Star Wars were more fleshed out in the following film. Dragons of Autumn Twilight is giving you a sense of what to expect from them, but leaving room to fill in the details in future journeys. And we do get quite a bit already with some of their relationships, the romantic ones and the platonic ones, that show the different sides of the characters. And we see Riverwind himself complete a character journey before we even reach the climax of the tale. What made me cover the novel by splitting it into 2 books is that it is a very dense work. But it's not slow, which is good. And it's not overburdened with concerns over minutiae in the lore or in the fighting. Those things are there, but only what is needed for the purpose of the larger tale, not crushed under the weight of trivia or of page after page of detailed combat. Now that may be disappointing if that's your particular preference for fantasy. You like that flavor to it. But the world of Krynn does fill out further and further as we go along. And if you're looking for conflict, well, obviously a war is brewing. So in our next part, we'll take a look at Book 2 of Dragons of Autumn Twilight.